have 9 minutes or so, and then we get a break. Thank goodness. If you're as mentally taxed as listening to David as I am, then you'll appreciate that. I'll make this really quick, and yeah, I'm excited about it. So every session this year at HCI, we've done these innovation sprints, and there's been some really intriguing insights, some findings. I'm excited to share those at the end of the conference. We'll also have a closing keynote to share some of the ideas, the hacks that you come up with during the sessions. So here's how I'll tell you how it works in a minute. I want to tell you a story first, really quick. I am about to have my first book published, and I am so relieved. I look relieved because I am. It's been a long process, and the book is about artificial intelligence and how it's going to affect HR and learning and talent. One of the stories that I illustrate in there to kind of show how this is going to impact us, there was a competition last year where they pit recruiters against an algorithm to see who could recruit better. And it was a complex kind of process, but basically there were 5,000 resumes and 3 jobs. You had to figure which of those people were actually hired for those jobs, real people, real jobs. And spoiler alert, the humans won. We did it. A man named Randy Bailey came in first place, a pair of people tied for second, and then the algorithm came in third. All the other contestants came in behind that. When I interviewed Randy to talk about it, he said it took him conservatively between 30 and 40 hours to get his estimates correct. He picked all 3 of the correct people out of 5,000 resumes. Again, pretty impressive. The algorithm took less than 4 seconds to figure out its answers, and it came in third. So not 100%, but pretty darn close. And the story there is that it's not about either or, right? It's about and. How can we use the best that it brings to the table and the best that we bring to the table to get to the best results? The things that we do really well aren't the things that algorithms do really well. We're really creative. We're curious. We can do innovative things. Algorithms run a process and spit out a result, and that's what they're made to do. Nothing wrong with that, but that's what they're made to do. Whereas we can come up with ways to think around the problem. That's what Randy really did in this example. He used some really creative techniques to figure out how to get to the right answers. So that's what this process is all about. We're going to run a couple hackathons, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, high energy, small groups. There's limited space. By the way, have your phone ready. Make sure you have the app ready. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to answer one question for me in the app. So really quick, here's how the hacking process works. Is it great? If it is, go to the spa. I think the hotel has a nice one downstairs. Check it out. It'd be great. If it's not great, if your learning content's not in the right place, if your methods and your delivery channels and things like that aren't in the right place, it can use a little love. It can use a little bit of help, some support. And so we'll look at how to take that apart, how to figure out the pieces of it, and how to make it better, how to improve those things. And just like David was saying, we can't see your own biases. In the moment, in real time, we can't see those things. You might not be able to see your own solutions to these problems, but what's fun is you're going to be sitting there with other people who can see your problems, and you can see theirs. And the great thing is, if they give you an idea and it's phenomenal, you can just take all the credit. If it's terrible, it's all their fault. It was a bad idea. What are you going to do, right? So here's really quick how the process works. You'll have a system, something that you want to improve. It'll be one of those pieces of the puzzle and the L&D puzzle that you deal with every day. You'll define your aspiration. And what I've found over time is that we're really good at defining the problem. We're not very good at defining what we want it to look like. So you would say, if our learning measurement worked, it would do this. Here's the result. Here's what it would look like. Or if our learning content was really engaging and people actually wanted to consume it, here's what that would look like. Here's what the results would look like. So you define what the aspiration is. Next, you go to the components. What are the little pieces of that? Let's break it down as far as we can. The technology, the people, the process, any requisite components that we can tweak or change to try to make an improvement. And then we'll hack it. We'll change that. We'll make a change. We'll delete it. We'll add a step. We'll tweak it. We'll change it in some form or fashion. And again, it'll be fun to get there. It's usually a big behavioral science experiment to see how we can make people do things they don't always want to do, which, again, that's part of your job. I'm just making very general assumptions about, no, just kidding. So let me give you an example of that, okay? If you had to rate meetings at your business, which side of the scale are they on? Probably not great if you're like everybody else. They could use a little bit of love, again. So that's our system. Our aspiration would be, let's make those meetings shorter. Let's get them less than 30 minutes. We're going to try to get in, get out, get back to work. We've got real things to do. So think about the components of a meeting. What are some of the pieces of the meeting that you could change to improve that? Somebody shout one out. The agenda. The attendees, excellent. Lots and lots of things. What was that? No multitasking. You're reading ahead. Hold on to that one. There's lots of things we could change about the meetings, right? We could tweak a billion different things, right? We could tweak any of these things to try to improve that, to shorten it, or just improve the outcomes in general. So let me give you an example of what that looks like. Let's say that we're going to focus on the ground rules. All right, we're going to set some specific ground rules for that meeting. We're going to say no smartphones, no multitasking. We don't want you showing up, again, like David said, you don't want you showing up feeling like you've got a hangover from not sleeping last night because you are multitasking and it takes away that brain power you could be using to focus on the meeting. What about seating? How can we change the seating? Remove it altogether. We're going to have standing meetings. We're going to have walking meetings. We're going to have active meetings so that you are in, you're out, and we get back to work. Again, just a quick and easy example to show what that looks like. If it was as simple as solving all of your problems with something like this, we'd all just go home now, but it's not that easy. We've got bigger problems to solve. We've got things across the L&D spectrum. So grab your app or grab your phone, look at the app. There's actually a poll in there, and I'd love for you to take just a minute, look at these, and pick a couple of the options you think that need some innovation, need some love. These might be top of the list for you. Your thing might not even be on this list, right? It might be I don't think we have other in there, but it might be something else that would be involved. So I'd love to see, awesome, we're already getting some responses. Learning, measurement, leadership development up there pretty high. I think David would be happy to hear that after that session. Excellent. So we're going to keep capturing these results as you vote. We're going to keep up with these things. And what we're going to do is, when you get to the session, if you want to come and join us, we're a couple escalators down in Michigan. Follow the signs to find us. We'll be in the same room where David's going to be doing his Talk to the Rock session. If you want to come down there and join us, we're having 3 sessions throughout the conference. You get a lot of opportunities to come and join in and meet and, again, interact, network with some of the great people in the group. And I would love for you to join us, share your insights, hopefully walk away, go back to work with the answer to some of your problems. If you're like me, when I go to events, I have something in my mind I'm hoping to solve, a problem I'm turning over, an issue that I'm hoping to get something from a speaker on. I want you to walk away with real answers, real solutions to some of those problems. These are some of the examples of things people have said about the session in the past. It's a really great experience. You've got to come and experience it for yourself. Welcome to the ones holding on to the bloody end. I appreciate you sticking around. We've had a lot of fun in the last day or so, and I'm excited to share some ideas with you. If you remember, I told a story yesterday about some recruiters that competed against an algorithm, and what I figured out in the last day that I would take you guys against any algorithm that they could throw at us because we have some really great ideas come out of the session. So we're going to share some of those. Now, one of the reminders, why this even matters, right? Why innovation? One of the quotes I use in the book I got from a Deloitte paper that I love, if you're training yourself to be a robot, you're going to be out of a job, right? They're better than us at certain things. You'll hear about curiosity in a little bit. That's one of the things that I point out in the book that we're better at. We're curious, we're creative, we're collaborative. Those things that we do really well, machines don't do very well. So creativity is a key thing, and we got to keep honing that at every opportunity. If you remember, we had a quick poll yesterday to look at some of the top priorities, things that you thought were a big deal to focus on, things that might have needed a little bit of love, again, in terms of processes. And those are the answers there, just in case you were curious how that ended up. That's how our totals ended up. The hacking itself, again, a lot of fun. Had a big crew go through, about 10 teams, went through, competed, shared their ideas. Dozens of people had their own ideas, actually. One of the fun things about it, so when you come into the session, you get to list out your own idea and then get input from everybody else on how to solve that before you go to the actual competitive team piece of that. So even if your team didn't win, and again, I see some of you out there, if your team didn't win, we agreed to be friends, I didn't pick you, but also you go home with some ideas on how to solve those problems in real practical ways. So I'm excited about that for each of you. So, your winners. Let's jump in. The first session, props to the team, Chuck, Adil, Nathan, Saleh, and Christy for doing a good job. Their idea, and I apologize for all the words, but we had to fit it in, and I can't memorize all the ideas that come out. So their problem was around learning delivery. We want to make sure that all of our people are also willing and able to be teachers as well, right? Every one of us has something of value, all of our employees. How can we get all of them to be teaching each other? Lots of subject matter experts and everything else. They threw around some different ideas, but the word that stuck in my head was their nerd clubs, what they called it. And basically, they're going to allow anyone in the organization that's a subject matter expert in a certain area to go on the shared Google Calendar for all the team and put a thing on the calendar saying, hey, I'm going to do a webinar, I'm going to do a lunch and learn, I'm going to do an event, and you're welcome to come. And you can go in there and search that, and it becomes this library of opportunities to learn from your peers, and then also find opportunities for yourself. Like, oh, I know about that topic too. I can go and put my own thought in there and share as well. I don't let them get away with just giving me a cool idea. I also ask them how they're going to measure those things. And so when we talk about measurement and how they're going to see if that actually worked, because they're going to give this a try, they're going to look at kind of the volume. Let's see how many of these meetings are being scheduled, how many people are going through there to see if it's really catching on, if it's really working for us or not. So again, a neat idea. Second session, Brian, Michelle, and a pair of Mohammeds joined us for that one. Their focus was on the digital learning journey. So one of the organizations, this was their actual problem they focused on. They said, we have lots of training, lots of paths that people could take, but it's too hard for us as the learning organization to have to create and curate all of those ourselves, because we don't always know what the right thing is, right? Sometimes people are closer to the work. They might know better resources than we do, than we can create ourselves. And so their focus was around creating that culture so everybody kind of pitched in to help. The way they did that was with a crowdsourced learning journey. So let's say that we're going to create a journey that has, at 10 steps in it. The organization would create the first 3, would curate those, would get them ready, and then once someone hit that 3rd level, they would get an opportunity to listen to their peers who had already reached that level about what should be the next step. And they can vote, they can share, there's some social component to that, but everybody gets to weigh in and again, take that path that matters most to them, that's fit to their needs, that's fit to their aspirations and everything else. Their learning piece of that was around, let's see how many times those self-generating steps are being created by the actual learners themselves versus us having to do all the work as the L&D organization. Neat story. And our third group that won the 3rd session, Brian and Caitlin, their idea was around site collaboration. So the challenge Brian actually had was they recently changed their structure at the business. They have different team leads at one site, but no person kind of over them. So everybody's there's a little infighting, our priorities are more important than your priorities. And so their focus was to how to get them on the same page. And the way they're going to do that is they're going to create some group priorities as a team, getting everyone to weigh in. So it's no longer about you or me, it's about us, trying to get them all on the same page. And again, in terms of how you'd measure that, I asked him what sort of way you could do that. And one of the ideas we had was simply going to one of the leaders and asking about the priorities of the others. Right? If we're aware of what their priorities are and we're in the loop together, we're working together, collaboratively, I will know what their challenges are, what their priorities are, and I can answer that. It's a quick, simple litmus test to know if that's working or not. Everybody can't win, okay? Everyone can't win, but there's some really good ideas too I want to share really quick, short and sweet. One of the teams wanted to focus on building a better feedback culture. They said, we want to be able to have everybody in the organization really excited about giving and sharing feedback. And so they're going to create virtual batons they send out so that when you get that baton, you share a piece of feedback with someone else, you get a point, kind of gamified a little bit, but you get a point. And the goal is to share those things around through the organization so everyone is getting a piece of feedback here and there whenever they need it. One of the other ones focused on an organization going through, she said, I can't say merger, but it was a combination of the organizations, and she used some of the ideas from the VUCA session, actually, talking about how to eliminate some of the uncertainty about those changes. I thought that was interesting. She wrapped in this new thing she just learned. And the last one is around sticky leadership development. Right, we throw out leadership development and just hope that people will take all the content and map the right behaviors and do those things they need to do. It doesn't always happen like that. Right? And so their focus was on making sure that if I move up as a leader, they're going to have my boss involved in that, and they're going to be partly responsible in their performance for how well I'm developing as a leader long term. So they're weighing in, they have some of a stake in the game, and they're participating on some level. So again, just a couple of the ideas. It's a really fun session. If you were there, I hope you enjoyed it. If you weren't there and you want to see some of the ideas in greater detail, I had that shot a little bit earlier of all the ideas that came out in the sessions. I'm happy to share that with you. Feel free to shoot me a note. There's my email address. Really have enjoyed this. We're actually next week going to wrap up the conference year, and we're going to do kind of a look back on some of the best ideas throughout the entire year that we've had across all the conferences, and I'm really excited to take a look back because there's so many really smart people that come to the events, that share their ideas, that get and give ideas to each other, and I can't wait to take a look back and see what kind of things have happened over the last year and what kind of improvements they've made. Thank you.